2025 will be known as a lot of things. The year the Switch 2 came out, the year everyone got mad that the Switch 2 came out, and also the year where we got 3 platformer mascot kart racers. Nintendo, funnily enough, published 2 out of the 3 games with Mario Kart World and Kirby Air Riders, both of which, in my opinion, are pretty good. I know Mario Kart World was controversial for a while there, and maybe still is, I don't know, but in my experience, I still find the game to be incredibly fun. Basically, what I said in my Switch 2 launch video is still what I think now. I honestly might like it even more now than I did then, after getting some time to practice some of the crazy stuff you can do in time trials and then fail to do online when you try to look cool. And then Kirby Air Riders is just a really solid experience. It's not necessarily my favorite. I think at the end of the day, I just prefer the more traditional kart racing control scheme, but I still heavily respect this game for just being a super high quality experience. This game feels and looks about as premium as you can get. But then we have the final contender, with Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. And you see, instead of using unique mechanics and gameplay to make itself stand out among its competitors like the other two did, this game instead takes the Fortnite approach of hoping you'll get so excited about SpongeBob that you'll drop $90. You're probably wondering why it took so long to get this video out. I mean, I reviewed Mario Kart World like a week after it came out, and that's because at launch, I didn't have access to a lot of the crap I paid for, and since the DLC was such a big part of the marketing for this game, I figured I would wait until I could give my thoughts on that. But now, like 8 months later, I still don't have all the crap I paid for. Most of the DLC is out now, at least the stuff I was the most curious about, but I'll be honest, I don't know why the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles track is taking so long. But since most of the stuff I want to talk about is out now, I figured I would go ahead and finally give my thoughts on Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. To begin with, I just want to say that Sonic Racing Cross Worlds is a super solid racing game. It doesn't take any huge risks or introduce anything that you haven't already seen in any other kart racer, and I think that's both its biggest strength and its biggest weakness. Even though I really loved Mario Kart World, it's not that I don't understand where the people who don't like it are coming from. And if you felt burned by that game, chances are you will like this one a whole lot more. There's no open world, no intermission courses, and none of the other stuff that made that game controversial. Honestly, this game also kind of has that advantage over Air Riders as well, because even though that game is generally agreed upon to be pretty good, it's about as far as you can get from a traditional kart racer. Out of the 3 options, Sonic Racing gives the most familiar and the least controversial option. But on the other, more cynical hand, it's also the game that introduces the least amount of interesting ideas, at least in the core gameplay. Mario Kart World had one of my favorite things ever introduced into a kart racing game with the whole trick system, which just added so many new fun and interesting ways to take on the tracks. While back here, we just have all the same gimmicks we've already seen before. I think the best thing this game introduces is the crossworld mechanic, where every second lap will be a randomly selected course no matter which track you're already playing. I think this keeps you on your toes a little more without ruining the flow of the race. But other than that, the most notable thing we have here is the vehicle transformations, which Sonic has already done. And also, since the vehicles are fully customizable in this game, the transformations look way less cool. I'm sorry, I pick cool animations over customization any day. Speaking of customization, there is a lot of vehicle customizing you can do in this game. There is a decent amount of cosmetic changes you can make, but the type of vehicle you use and the parts you use on it, along with the character you pick, all affect your stats. I do like how the boost vehicles are just the extreme gear, because let's be honest, Sonic characters riding hoverboards is objectively the coolest thing ever. Most of this is pretty normal stuff, but the other big form of customization is the license plate, where you can put these little things on that can give you anything from extra items to stat increases or the ability to spin your car at max velocity. I'm not really a huge fan of the license plate. Most of the stuff I have on there is just stuff that I kind of need to make the game feel good to control. Playing this game without anything that speeds up tricks or drifting is genuinely a miserable experience for me. If you ask me, both of those things should just be quicker by default, and then you can just get rid of the license plate. I'm also not a fan of any of the things that give you items at the start or give you an extra drift bar or something. That stuff doesn't ruin the balance of the game or anything, but I also think it gets rid of some of the randomness that kind of defines the genre. genre, and getting run over by a monster truck at the start of the race isn't the most fun experience. I also just think this verges on the issue of having too many options. I don't really want to have to fill out an entire character sheet just to play not Mario Kart. Items are something that I think are handled fairly well in this game. Mario Kart World really leans into chaos with items that can completely change the outcome of a race in a matter of seconds, while this game goes for a far more balanced approach. Pretty much all items in this game have a function. It is very rare that I get a useless item that I just don't want. On top of that, every offensive item in this game has some sort of counter to it. Yes, it does come down to luck of the draw at the end of the day, but also I find myself countering stuff a ton in this game. I think overall this works pretty well. If you know what you're doing, it's a lot harder to get completely screwed over. It still happens though. Even the blue shell equivalent of this game has a pretty basic counter to it, which can kind of ruin the whole point, but it does make this game easier for new people to get into. I think that's probably my biggest problem with Mario Kart World. I generally don't mind the chaos, as that's kind of just part of the experience, but man, playing that game online can be a bit much sometimes. This game though, I'll just say it wasn't all that challenging for me to reach the legend rank online. The thing this game does the best though is probably its courses. Each one has an interesting layout. There's definitely some weak ones here and there, but the good ones are really, really good. Pumpkin Mansion is an all-timer track. I love this one. Sonic levels are basically just single-player races anyway, so it makes sense that a Sonic racing game would have some good track design. I think my favorite part of the levels in this game, though, is their theming. There are lots of completely original locations that are new but take a ton of inspiration from older Sonic games, and then a few courses that are just straight up ripped out of the games they're based on. I really love those final 3 courses that are based on the 3 most recent Sonic games. The Kronos Island and White Space tracks especially are really fun. I also just love seeing the amount of original Sonic level themes here. The last few games, aside from Superstars, really lean into the old level nostalgia stuff, which works fine sometimes, but I really do prefer to see some original stuff, even if it is in the racing spin-off. There isn't a ton of single-player content here. I was a little disappointed by that because I really like the mission mode in Transformed, but since the courses are designed so well, just going through the Grand Prix was good enough. They also did a good job of making the Grand Prix mode stand out a little with the rival system, which gives you fun character interactions, and it also acts as a pretty good difficulty system. Playing a Grand Prix with the rival difficulty cranked all the way up can genuinely be pretty hard. I also think this mode is where you get the most interesting use of the cross-world mechanic. Basically, the final races of every Grand Prix consist of all 3 previous tracks you raced on in that cup, with each lap being a different track. Online is also fun. There's not much special about it or anything. You just go online and do a race, and that's good. So, while I do have some gripes and annoyances with this game, overall, I can't deny that it's a pretty good time and I enjoy it. I may have paid a little more than I would have liked, but the game itself is still fun. You probably noticed I haven't talked about a certain little aspect of the game, though, haven't you? Oh my goodness, it's the Angry Bird from Angry Birds. So despite what most of the marketing would have you think, at this game's core, it is purely a Sonic racing game. This isn't like the All-Stars games where the crossover aspect was a core part of the game. Instead, this game was made to feature primarily Sonic characters and courses. It sort of makes me wonder when in development they decided to add the crossover idea, because I'll be honest, all of that stuff feels pretty tacked on. Like, did they add all this last minute, or was this the plan from the start and they just decided that they would get more attention and money if they released all these paid and free DLC characters later, instead of just featuring it all in the base game like the All-Stars games did? Now look, I'm not inherently against crossovers or anything. There are plenty that I enjoy, especially within the video game space. I mean, just look at some of the previous Sonic racing games. But I'll admit, all this stuff kind of rubs me the wrong way. A lot of the Sega characters and other ones like Mega Man and Pac-Man make more sense to me. Those are characters that people might actually want to see Sonic cross over with. But stuff like SpongeBob, Minecraft, all the other Nickelodeon stuff, and even Galleon for some reason now, it just has me feeling a lot more cynical. You don't put SpongeBob and even Galleon in a Sonic racing game because it's something people actually want to see. You do it so you can be like Fortnite and have crossovers with as many brands as possible to get as much money as possible. Like I said, I don't inherently mind the crossover aspect. I think my most played character in this game is Ichiban, because why wouldn't it be? But also, it just really feels like they are trying to make this game the next big thing with all this, and it's not really working. They have all these expensive brand collaboration packs, but when it comes down to it, whenever I play online, people are playing as Sonic characters. This game seems like it's doing fine enough, but I think that's mostly just because of the Sonic part of it. There is nobody I know who is a Persona or SpongeBob or Minecraft fan who decided to get this game because their favorite character is in it. You basically just have people who like Sonic games or like kart racers who bought this game because of that. And if a character they like is in it, then that's just a nice little bonus. That's kind of how I feel about Yakuza characters being here. Most of the extra tracks that come with the paid characters are fine enough. It's nice to have more tracks in the game, and that's kind of the main reason I bought the DLC, but man, that SpongeBob one specifically just sucks. I think it genuinely might be my least favorite course in the game. The Mega Man one is also kind of rough. It has a cool gimmick, but outside of that, it's pretty bland. And also, all of the DLC characters aren't voice acted like the characters from the main game are, which just makes them feel even more out of place. It also means that if you use them in the Grand Prix mode, they don't have any fun dialogue with the other characters. It just sucks to me that so much of this game's marketing and post-launch support is all so focused around Fortnite crossovers, when in reality the game is just a really good Sonic racing game, and I would just like to see more stuff relating to that. I guess maybe I'm in the minority here because most people seem to react pretty positively when they reveal this stuff, but I don't know, I just don't like it, and I would hate to see the whole series become like this instead of coming up with its own cool new stuff. I do kind of hate being so negative about this part, because otherwise I would say this game is pretty good. This, right after Shadow Generations, is definitely giving me some more hope in this series' ability to continually make good games. But it also reminds me of a lot of the stuff I don't really like about Sega right now, especially in the overpriced DLC department. I guess for now, I'm just happy knowing that if Sonic is going to fall into the constant brand collaboration rabbit hole, they're at least doing it in a quality game, so even if I'm not the happiest about all of it, I can still at least have fun. It would really suck if they did the exact same thing, but in some crappy mobile game with far more hostile monetization methods that no one really wants to play, that's just trying to capitalize on another fad game that lost relevancy years ago. That would really suck, wouldn't it?